I thought higher rates was good for the banks. What's happening?
I would say that higher rates are good for the banks up until a certain point. I don't think we've reached it yet, but post-financial crisis, as interest rates fell to unbelievably low levels, that was the negative for the banks. And as the 10 years reached 3%, the banks have generally performed very well. There will come a time if that long end of the curve goes up too fast, that will weigh on the bank stocks, but we don't think we're there yet.
You think the net interest margin story is still one where we can expand through the year, Gerard?
Yes, we do, because the front end of the curve, as you've been discussing, is continuing to rise. And we anticipate that the margin expansion will come through the end of the year. However, we do believe the net interest margin for the group will start to flatten out at the end of the year and start to decline next year. But that will be offset by increased loan growth, which we're starting to see as we speak today.
So profits versus volume. I do want to talk about profits, and then we can get to the volume story. Let's talk about the margin, the net interest margin, Gerard. We've had a conversation on this program over the last several weeks and months now about cash becoming a real alternative at the moment, your ability to pick up yield. When does the penny drop, so to speak, for the deposit base at some of these banks that they're getting ripped off?
I would say that the deposit betas are finally starting to move higher. Depending on the category of deposit, we are seeing at the commercial deposit level, betas are anywhere between 60 and 100%, meaning those customers are almost receiving all of the Fed fund rate increases. Wealth management customers are seeing about 50% of it, whereas the consumer is still down in the 25 to 30%. However, as we progress through the year, we expect the deposit betas to reach their terminal end, where on average it will be 60 to 70% of all deposits will be repricing with the Fed funds rate.